Should I start?
Yes, sir, you can start.
Yes, sir.
You can ask the other learners. I have started recording, okay?
Right, madam. Okay, good morning, participants and madam. Today is the fourth and last day for this session. So far, if you can recap, we have gone through the final books of accounts, cost accountancy, nature of different direct and indirect income and expenditures, overheads, and after that, today we'll be covering 2 points. One will be what are the final financial statements. Financial statements presented by different public sector companies, private sector companies, government of India and state government of India. What are the components of the financial statement? What are the different ratio which decide the health of your any business organization? Apart from this, we will go through some requirements that what is the importance of human resource in any organization, whether it is at par or below other resources. So with this, let us start today. We may go beyond 1 hour or 1.5 hours because we have two different presentation for block 4 and block 5. So now I will share my PPT. I think my PPT is visible to you all.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So by the name itself, you can think that what is the topics to be covered today. So today is the concluding day. So whatever different branches of the accountancy you have gone through in last 3 days, that all today they will come together and they will form the financial statement. Financial statements means the various reports you have seen in the parliament that one day before the budget passing, the government finance minister put some annual reports. So today we will start what are the reports, what are the broad factors of the reports. So topic 1, today's topics 1 means that the block 4 will contains the financial statement analysis, which will cover that annual report, contents of annual reports, and difference between the annual reports of public company, private company, government company, whatever the different entities are, and green annual reports. These will be the reports. And before preparing these reports, the help of different factors are taken. What are that factors? That the balance sheet, what we talk day for today, and the certain financial ratios and comparative common size and trend statements. What happens that once we are in some same nature of competitors or other agencies, other concerns, so we collect the data from the say other firms having the same nature of business, same size of business, external agencies, abroad or domestic, and then compare their status and our status. Let us see the where the difference between them. What are their credential as of now and what is our credential. So where there is a need to change to get our fruitful results of profit earning, we do that. In that, we look after the size and the trend. And then what are the application of the financial statements. This will be covered in first 45 to 50 minutes. And next will be this topic. Sorry. That human resources accounting. What are the accountability of human resources? Who are the responsible for different activities of any organization as a team? Approaches to human resources accountability, forensic accounting, that why it is required in any organization, what actually is it, and how it is achieved. In that, we will go through some fraud triangle. What is the fraud triangle? and what are the major corporate frauds so far. So I have taken 4 5 cases of the fraud cases, and we will discuss that how fraud took place and where they lands as on today. And then application of this forensic accounting in the business entity in any company. What are the types of frauds? How they takes place? What are their origin? And fraudulent financial reporting schemes कि कितने सफाई से हम इसको प्रिपेयर करते हैं फ्रॉड और निकल जाता है उसमें। अभी आपने आज का पेपर पढ़ा होगा कि सीबीआई ने 15 स्टेट्स में डिफरेंट डिफरेंट जगहों पर जो शेयर ब्रोकर्स होते हैं उनके यहाँ रेड किया है कि हाउ दे मैनिपुलेट द शेयर ऑफ सर्टेन एंटिटीज। If not, then after class you just go and see that what was the best tool for this raid. Methods of fraud detection, कैसे कैसे हम फ्रॉड को डिटेक्ट कर सकते हैं। हम का मतलब that you, that the manager, that is the management. I think that every organization have their own vigilance department, investigating agencies. They are having internal vigilance, everything to control and to detect these things. And then what is the forensic audit techniques? How we can catch it once audit report, annual report comes before you, being the head of the financial department or being the head of the vigilance, then how you will detect? We will be discussing on this in the next 45 minutes. So we should be ready to at least bear half an hour or 1 hour today additional. Financial statements. The first of all, financial statements includes annual reports. What are the contents of annual reports? Any annual reports contains two parts. One is a non-audited information and that is the narrative and the non-narrative. क्या होता है कि जो audited part of annual report होता है that is based on our balance sheet, our profit and loss account, our notes on the accounts, that how the particular head of the balance sheet has been added and finalized with the particular amount in the balance sheet. So there are different notes that is duly audited by the chartered accountant. And there are some non-narrative items, non-audited information part, that notes of the management. The management, chairperson, finance department, everybody gives some notes that how they have reached to that figure. What are the principles they have adopted? From where they have taken that principle? What was the need of taking or adopting that concept or principles? That every notes are there. That notes are prepared by the different authorities of the organization. Within narrative items in the annual reports, following are some of the important statements. See, this is not exhaustive. This is a inclusive. Means that there may be other reports also. Chairman's statement, director's report, operating and financial review, statement of corporate governance, auditor's report, statement of directors' responsibilities, sustainability report, and management discussion and analysis. So these all are non-audited informations. Now, if you see that what are the contents of our annual report, now you can say that the non-audited informations, what are the non-audited information? Just I concluded. Financial statements. Now, what are the financial statements? That we will come to know. And notes to the accounts that already included with the balance of sheets and other books of accounts prepared. And last and fourth account is the accounting policies. Which policies we have adopted. That these are the four factors contents of the annual report. And that reports are prepared based on these draft factors: comparative, common size, and trend statements. Comparative statements, comparative intra and inter. Intra means within our department, within our concern, with the different sub departments and the previous year reports. And inter means the similar competitor in the market doing the same business, and we prefer that okay, their end product should be almost all similar, size should be similar. I am a big concern and they are a small concern. The copying their strategy will not benefit us. Likewise, if you are small and they are big, so again it will not be the benefits. These are the some drawbacks, but that is the very rarely effective. So what we see that the trend analysis, what is the trend going on, intra, inter, or any other. And the DuPont analysis, there is a thought that DuPont analysis where we equivalent, we study the ROE, return of equity, we study there. That how based on the equity, that is in the return of the directors, we can analyze the health of our financial status. And using financial ratio to predict bankruptcy. अब यहाँ पर आता है कि अगर हम फाइनेंशियल रेशियो को ध्यान से देखें, स्टडी करें अपने ऑर्गेनाइजेशन पर, अपने स्टेटस पर, तो हाउ वी कैन अवॉइड द बैंकरप्सी, इंसॉल्वेंसी, क्यों हम ले ऑफ, क्लोजर या मर्जर से बच सकते हैं. तो दीज आर द फैक्टर्स वी विल कवरिंग इन दिस. तो लेट अस गो दैट व्हाट इज द एनुअल रिपोर्ट. Annual reports develop ability to navigate annual reports, know the important contents in annual reports, learn about the qualitative and quantitative aspects of the company, and analyze and understand the financial statements. तो ये वो 4 steps हैं आपके annual report तैयार करने का. So this annual report is prepared yearly. It contains information about the firm's business and its financial position and performance. The readers can navigate through the annual report to learn about the quality. जब आप जाते हैं इंटर्नशिप में, आप इंटर्नशिप करते हैं, करेंगे, इसमें प्रोजेक्ट तैयार करेंगे MBA के लिए, तो आप एक चीज का फोकस कीजिएगा कि ज्यादा इधर उधर इजी रास्ता खोजने के बजाय, अगर आप किसी अच्छे 3-4, 2-1 जो मोर प्रॉफिट में चल रहे हो और 2-1 जो लॉस में चल रहे हो, अगर उनके पास जा करके आप एक हफ्ते का इंटर्नशिप करके 15 दिन का करके अगर चारों का कंपैरेटिव बैलेंस शीट लाएंगे और उसमें आप उनके एनुअल रिपोर्ट का एनालिसिस करेंगे, तो आई कैन एश्योर यू दैट यू विल बी वेरी सेटिस्फाइड विद योर परफॉर्मेंस एंड यू विल बी ऑन हाई डिमांड इन द मार्केट. सो यू कैन डू दिस आल्सो. With respect various stakeholders, who are the stakeholders? आपको मैंने पहले बताया कि stakeholders are nothing but the investors, analysts, suppliers, customers, and employees use the annual report to facilitate decision making. And now I can add that the research scholars also. Annual report is a document that publicly traded or listed companies must provide annually to shareholders. This is binding on them. It describes the company's operation and financial performance position in a detailed manner. So what are the contents? Just I brief that there are 4 broad contents: non-audited information, financial statement, notes to the accounts, and accounting. Non-audited, narrative, and non-narrative. Just a token, yes, good, very good, excellent, bad, need to be amended, etc. And narrative means the what are the things are in positive way, what are the negative way, what is the comments for various departments, to the government, to the various agencies. नरेटिव आइटम्स, विद इन नरेटिव आइटम्स मैंने आपको बता दिया कि चेयरमैन स्टेटमेंट, डायरेक्टर स्टेटमेंट्स, एक डिस्क्रिप्शन. आप अभी जो स्टेटमेंट आता है तो व्हाट दे राइट इन दिस स्टेटमेंट्स, दैट इज द description of the principal activity of the company, a fair review of the current and future prospects of the business. EPW, ये जो इकोनॉमिकल एंड पॉलिटिकल वीकली जो निकलता है EPW, अगर आप लोग उनमें से पढ़ते होंगे या मंगाते होंगे, तो अगर आप EPW अब मंगाएं तो चूंकि सबके रिपोर्ट्स आ रहे होंगे प्रीवियस ईयर के बैलेंस शीट्स और ये सब रिपोर्ट्स, तो आप उसको देख के आपको लगेगा कि आपको बहुत ज्यादा इधर उधर घूमने की जरूरत नहीं है. इट इज ए वेरी गुड बुक्स ऑन दिस इश्यूज. Information on the sale, purchase, or valuation of the assets, implies statistics, name of the directors and their interest, details of the political or charitable donations. This is a statement in the annual report. The operating review covers items and the financial review, etc. etc. जब बात आती है, ये तो आ गया पब्लिक सेक्टर और प्राइवेट सेक्टर के लिए। अब गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर के लिए थोड़ा सा इसमें चेंज ये होता है कि जब ये रिपोर्ट तैयार करते हैं, एनुअल रिपोर्ट तैयार करने के बाद इसको ये पहले हाउस में प्रेजेंट करते हैं, और यह सब जो रिपोर्ट तैयार किया जाता है बाय द सीएजी, कंट्रोलर एंड ऑडिटर जनरल ऑफ इंडिया, हु इज द कॉम्पिटेंट अथॉरिटी, वेयर द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट एंड और द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स। मान लीजिए कुछ ऐसे प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं, कुछ ऐसे हैं जो कंकरेंट लिस्ट में है, तो देयर बोथ द गवर्नमेंट्स आर इंक्लूडेड, अदरवाइज द स्टेट इज सेपरेट एंड सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट इज सेपरेट। इज ए मेंबर ऑफ ए गवर्नमेंट कंपनी, NHPC, NTPC, whoever with the central government agency, shall prepare an annual report on the working and affair of the company and to be laid before the house or both houses of the state legislature, also together with a copy of the audit report and the comments upon on supplement to the audit. So the comment means that includes the chairman's statement, director's statements, that are narrative reports, that is comments. Prepared within 3 months of its annual general meeting, before which the comments given by the controller and auditor general, जहाँ यहाँ पर 3 month वाली बात आई, it is a matter of multiple choice question, and this binding is not there in the public private sectors, because they are given a date for auditing by 31st October of every year and to be submitted by 30th November of the year, subject that if it is not extended, like in corona it was extended year together, month together, so as a fixed periodicity, that is fixed, which comments given by the Comptroller and Auditor General of India and the audit report is placed, and as soon as may be after such preparation, laid before both houses of parliament together with a copy of audit report and comments. आपने यहाँ देखा कि स्टेट लेजिस्लेचर में भी अगर स्टेट का है और अगर दोनों के साथ में है तो लोकसभा और राज्यसभा में प्रेजेंट किया जाए। ये पूरा एनुअल रिपोर्ट प्रिपेयर्ड बेस्ड ऑन योर बैलेंस शीट एंड ऑडिट रिपोर्ट, and the audit reports are prepared after going through the various financial ratios. Now, before going to financial ratio, there is one new terminology, green annual report. What is the need of green annual report in finance, and that is today. First, let us see that what it says, and then I will tell what it is. Just like the normal annual report, a green annual report is a comprehensive document that contains information on a company's financial position and performance over the preceding year. What information? The major difference between a normal annual report and a green annual report is that a latter, that is the green annual report, is printed using production processes that save energy, trees, and water, as well as reduce waste and greenhouse gases. Green annual reports are frequently printed using eco-friendly soy inks in comparison with the traditional petroleum-based ink. Soy inks are environmentally friendlier, are available in brighter colors, and make it easier to recycle papers. आपने देखा होगा कि बहुत सारे रिपोर्ट जो आते हैं उनके पेपर का कलर थोड़ा सा डार्क लेके होता है। अगर आप देखिए कि रफ कॉपी खरीदते हैं तो बहुत मोटी कॉपी आपको 25 रुपए की मिल जाती है, और अगर फेयर कॉपी खरीदते हैं तो उससे आधी पतली कॉपी आपको 100-200 रुपए मिलती है। तो एन इको ऑडिट स्टेटमेंट, दिस इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट, फ्रॉम हियर आई विल डाइवर्ट समवेयर. An eco audit statement estimates the number of trees preserved, pounds of water-borne waste that was not created, number of gallons of wastewater flow saved, pounds of solid waste not generated. That an eco audit statements give these documents, these informations. Now, there was a concept that once there is a large earning, all industries, companies, they were enhancing their dividend. So government brought a conditions before all the such companies. Corporate social responsibility, corporate social responsibility, that is the CSR. Once you are producing something, your waste is going in the river or somewhere, that in the air, it creates the air pollution, water pollution, and even sound pollutions, which normal common people are suffering with no benefit, no return. So you are getting your profit, but why on our cost? Why on our health? So the government has put a condition that due to your this activity, now common people are suffering with their health, environment is suffering, sustainable development concept is being defeated. So certain percentage of your profit you will expend on the social work like plantation, gardening, and other water filtration treatment plant. So as of now, I remember it is 5% of their profit to be used as a CSR, that is the corporate social, under the corporate social responsibility. अब इसमें भी देखिए छेद हो जाता है। लोग कंपनी जो है, प्राइवेट कंपनी है, वो क्या करते हैं कि अपना ही एक एनजीओ बना लेंगे और एनजीओ से लेटर मंगा करके बोलेंगे कि यू प्लीज गिव मी द CSR फंड दिस मच सो आई कैन डू फॉर सम पब्लिक एंड दिस बाय making clubhouses, gardens, and plants and all, and they divert their 5% or whatever it is there to their concern, their sister concerns. But this has to be done. This report, the Green Annual Reports, bears the eco audit statements, estimate the number of trees, कितना पेड़ आपने कटा, कितना क्या हुआ, आपने कितने पेड़ लगाए. All these social responsibility works are included in the Green Annual Report. So now let us come the main points, that is the types of ratio. Yesterday some participant asked that whether it is covered. So yesterday I discussed it. It was there, but today I am covering in detail. Every business has many stakeholders, investors, company, management, government, etc., etc. Different stakeholders in a business firm wants to evaluate the financial performance of firms from their perspectives. कहीं भी इन्वेस्ट करने से पहले हम और आप या सब लोग 100 बार सोचते हैं. We think 100 times that whether I should invest or not. If you go through the studies, the newspaper that just newly incorporated IPO of LIC earned a loss of more than 8% in just a few days. So every investor, first they work at where to invest. So how they work? They go through their balance sheet, audit report, and self-calculate the various ratios which I am going to present. And after being satisfied, then go for any investment. Stakeholders are the owners who want to evaluate if the business enterprise is profitable and financially strong or not. They are therefore interested in knowing about the short-term liquidity position of the firm. That cash flow statement that I told, that liquidity, working capital, you see the liquidity. Don't see that this is having so many fixed asset company and these offices. No, you see as an investor, you see the liquidity of the company. Similarly, lenders of long-term finance are interested in the long-term solvency and profitability of the firm, that whether it will go for in long-term or not. These concepts I will clear with the few examples taken of the financial fraud, that how these were violated in preparation of books. And after going through books, what I told you, that before investment, you refers their balance in an audit report, and nothing else is available before you. So you calculate with that data only. But once that data itself is manipulated, then who can help? Management is interested in the overall performance of the firm. each stakeholder wants to examine and evaluate the financial statements from their perspectives, which can be ascertained with the help of different financial ratios. Thus, we may categorize the financial ratio in the following categories. Profitability ratio. See, profitability ratio assesses the firm's on its profit earning capacity. It is the ratio of gross profit earned during a year to the sale, means the ratio of gross profit and the sale. Once again, this is gives a overall status of the company, which further may or may not be useful to the investors. So gross profit is equal to sales minus the cost of goods sold. Now further, COGS is written for cost of goods sold. And once you find out the gross profit, you can calculate the gross profit margin equal to gross profit divided by sales revenue. Assess the efficiency of the firm. Not assess, exactly the assess. Net profit margin is equal to net profit to the sales. Net profit of the sales is equal to the profit after tax or net profit, and sales revenue. Profit after tax is known as the EBIT, earning before interest and tax. The interest means the payable interest. Liquidity ratio. This is the most important ratio for the investor view of points. Those who don't want to take a risk at all, they should go with this. Current ratio, it is having the different 4 ratios. You can calculate with the balance sheet and audit report taking these parameters. Current ratio, current assets divided by the current liability. From the balance sheet sides, you take the current assets, right side and left side the current liabilities, and take the ratio. What is the ratio? If it is healthy, means more than 1, then it is good. And if it is equal to 1 or below 1, then it is alarming. Then you have to go for further evaluation. Then what is the further evaluation? Quick ratio. How it differs with the current ratio? In this inventory from the current assets are removed. Only pure cash is taken in bank in hand and FDRs. That's all. And divided by the same current liability. Okay. Still you have some doubt that they are showing the FD. They must have taken a loan or borrowing on the FD, and whether it is correct or not. So you go further scrutiny, that is the cash ratio. So what is the cash ratio? Cash ratio means cash and bank balance minus short-term investment, that is the FDs, and divided by the same current liabilities. Now that is the cash ratio. Now here you have to believe, once you are an investor, want to invest, then here at least you should believe. Further, if you want to evaluate, then evaluate the working capital ratio of the concern for 2-3 previous years. The net working capital ratio can be calculated by net working capital divided by the net asset. These 4 forms the liquidity ratio, which is purely required by any investors. Whereas managements will go for all sort of ratio, because he has to borrow long-term borrowing, short-term borrowing, he has to generate the capital also, he has to run the organization also. So for the management, as a manager, every ratio is important. Leverage ratio. Now leverage ratio is taken for the benefit by the management. Assess the proportion of debt and equity, that how much borrowing you have taken, what is the outstanding loan every year, whether it is increasing in the same proportionate or different proportionate, how this is related with the equity. Equity means your gain, your profit, owner's equity, which I explained in earlier classes. The debt equity ratio is long-term interest-bearing debts divided by the shareholders' fund, any equity. What is the share? Share is value is 5 lakh. Now your debt is 7 lakh. It is alarming. It will be less than 1. So once it is the less than 1, then it is alarming. It should not be. And further comes the coverage ratio. Once you go leverage ratio, still you find some refined data. So what is the ability to pay your interest? आपने लॉन्ग टर्म इंटरेस्ट बियरिंग डेट लिया है, तो व्हाट इज योर एबिलिटी टू बियर द इंटरेस्ट? if we are not able to even pay the interest, you recently we heard that Pakistan has refused to pay the amounts of principal to other country taken the borrowing, and he is not able to pay the interest. You have seen recently in the Sri Lanka that he itself, Sumoto, they have declared insolvency. Now they are depending upon the India to help. Whatever may be, that is the political concern, but this is the economical effect, not evaluating the coverage ratio properly. Interest coverage ratio is equal to earning before interest and taxes, that is the EBIT, and divided by the total liability of interest. Activity known as the efficiency, also known as the turnover ratio. So this ratio are taken for different turnovers. That may be your inventory turnovers, debtors turnover, creditor turnover, asset turnovers, etc. etc. So I have taken the formula for inventory takeover. Similar is the for all. COG, cost of goods sold, that is the cost of goods sold or that sales, divided by the average inventory. Likewise, average debtors value, average creditors, etc. etc. So that is the turnover ratio. And then valuation, any investment ratios. Once you don't have any investment, you don't go for investment, then you cannot get the borrowing from any concern, any agencies. So you have to maintain it. Used to value the investment made by the shareholders, estimating the worth of company. Price to earning ratio, market value per equity share divided by the book value of per equity share. This will work out your valuation investment ratio. ये तो रहे आपके रेशियो की बात. These are the important ratio which are very important for all the investor, for all the manager, for all the managements and students also. But while applying these ratios, while calculating these ratios, there is some issues which I stated that it totally depend upon the data, which is not your independent data, that is the balance sheet, audit reports prepared earlier. Let us see. Although ratio analysis is an important tool in the analysis and evaluation of the performance of a firm, there are certain issues while using them. Some of the important points, okay, the financial ratios are calculated based on the financial statement, the balance sheet, income statement, and cash flow. These statements, as we know, are historical in nature. Previous year ka kya tha, prepared based on that. They summarizes the financial transactions of the firm as they occurred in the past. Hence, the financial ratio based on these historical statements are backwards looking and are at best post-mortem of past events. इसलिए टोटली एक रेशियो पर रिलाय न करके you go for various ratio. No two company exactly similar in their asset profit. So what I will be talking about a comparative and trend analysis, that gets failure because no two companies are exactly similar in their asset profile, capital structure, technology being used, marketing product, etc. etc. Although the financial ratio have been well defined, there exists a wide variation in the definition of certain terms. अब देखिए, हमने जब आपको पूरे रेशियो बता दिए तो उसमें कुछ टर्म्स ऐसे हैं कि दे आर लायबल टू बी इंटरप्रिटेटेड. इंटरप्रिटेशन इज रिक्वायर्ड. So where there is scope of interpretation, so everything can be explained in their own way. For example, though the debt equity ratio is well defined, what constitutes equity is subject to the variation, as some may include preference capital in equity, while others may not include it. Preferential shareholders हैं. It similarly the term profits are also subject to different interpretations. तो कुछ टर्म्स ये हैं जो कि आपके रेशियो एनालिसिस को 100% फुल प्रूफ नहीं बनाते हैं. दे क्रिएट सम सॉर्ट ऑफ एम्बिग्यूटी. Besides comparing the ratio over times, now see, this is the control, this is the strict rule. They are sometimes compared with the industry averages also. Such a database is maintained by the Reserve Bank of India. Provis database का नाम है Provis, maintained by the Center for Monitoring Indian Economy, is another such database of Indian firms. Such industry average ratio is based on all the firms that constitutes that industry. ये एवरेज होता है उस साइज का, उस लेवल का कंपैरिजन करके, इंटर कंपैरिजन करके सभी का एक निकाला जाता है. तो हाउ यू कैन से दैट इट विल बी करेक्ट. एक एग्जांपल था, किसी को एक पॉन्ड्स को पार करना था, तो दोनों में से एक फ्रेंड से बोला कि चलो एक लाठी लाते हैं, लेट अस हैव ए स्टिक and just measure the depth of water. So one place it was 1 feet, and the place it was 3 feet, and the place it was 7 feet. So they have taken the average of 7, 3, and 1 and divided by 3, which was less than the 4 feet. And all of them were above 5 feet. So they told us we can cross it. Now what was the result, you can understand. So some firms may be very large in terms of sales and profit, while some firms may be very small. The industry average would give equal attention to both these types of firms. Comparing a firm's ratio with such an average ratio might be misleading, but we have to compare it. Let us see. Before going to result, we cannot find out our own opinion. Comparative or common size and trend statements are done to analyze the changes in financial performance of different organizations. Prepare analysis statement and report from financial statements. The technique of inter-firm analysis. Explain the Newport Analysis technique. A common approach to study the changes in the financial performance of a firm is to simply compare the financial statement for at least 2 years. We being living in a colony, we also compare with our neighbors, that what they are doing, what they are bringing, how they are decorating their main gate, and we also think that whether we can do it or not. So comparison is a common phenomena. सार को गई रहे थोथा दे उड़ा है. Whatever is the good, you please adopt it. Which is not suiting to you, just neglect it. Such an analysis is called comparative statement analysis. In this analysis, financial statements of at least 2 years needed to be considered of different concerns. Common size concept. Another way to analyze the financial statement is the preparing a common size statement, means having the same firm, same company of almost all common activities. In this, each item of the balance sheet is expressed as a percentage of total asset and liability. All other items of the balance sheet are expressed as a percentage of the total assets of liability. In this analysis, the financial statements are redrafted to be expressed in the terms of common base. अब ये परसेंटेज वाला सेकंड पॉइंट में आप कैसे निकालेंगे. आपने लेफ्ट कॉलम में लीजिए डिफरेंट रेशियोज, राइट में ऊपर हॉरिजॉन्टल कंपनी ए बी सी, करंट रेशियो इनका इतना परसेंट. तो आपने देखा कि बैलेंस शीट के सभी फिगर का आपने रेशियो का परसेंटेज निकाल लिया. नाउ यू कैन सी दैट विच आर द सिमिलर एंड विच आर द डिफरेंट, एंड वंस डिफरेंट व्हाट कैन बी डन. Therefore, such statements are called the common size statement analysis. Now come to the trend analysis. Another important technique of analyzing the financial statement is the trend analysis over a period of time. Study the trend over the years. especially in terms of income statements like sales, profit, or item of the balance sheet. Don't go for fixed asset. Don't go for their infra. You see that all the MNCs are coming in India. They are making one good lavish type corporate office, and they are doing online marketing and everything online. That earning on that is not coming to the India, stating that they are not earning in India, they are only taking the help. So government goes against it, makes a different policy. That goes in the courts, even up to the honorable Supreme Courts, and some decision comes in their favor, like Vodafone case you can go, and some comes the government side. So these are because of the following these trends. Study the trend over the years, especially in items of income statements like sales, profit, or item of balance sheet like net worth, debt. The important financial indicators like sales, EBIT, interest, etc. are expressed as 100 for the base. You take the 100 points. Now you take the percentage. After calculating the percentage, you take that how much point you got it. That will assess your status. Then each item is expressed relative to the amount in the base year. Relative amount. It is not a real amount. Interfirm analysis and compare of financial performance of the firm with its close competitors.
हर उद्योग में वंचितों और बाहरी लोगों की अपनी एक हिस्सेदारी होती है। हम में से कुछ के पास दूसरों की तुलना में मौके आमतौर पर अधिक होते हैं, लेकिन व्यापार सफलता सुनिश्चित नहीं करता। इसीलिए क्षेत्र में सबसे ज्यादा
What is this matter?
ऐसे बड़े
For example, the key financial indicators are sales, profit, asset, borrowing, fixed assets, equity, and retained earning. Now come to the Newport analysis. Like ratio analysis, there are one more analysis of Newport analysis before preparing the annual reports or any audit reports. The most important aspects of the firm's operation is the rate of return in the firm is able to generate on the equity. What is the rate of return? That is the most important, that everybody wants, either management or investors. Equity shareholders are the real owner of the firm and take all the risks. Hence, the return on equity (ROE) needs to be analyzed in greater depth. This is achieved by the DuPont analysis, which breaks down the ROE, that is the return on equity, in different ratios. What are the three components? What are the three components? They are profit margin, asset turnover, and equity multiplier. Under DuPont analysis, we assess these three informations with the help of the different ratios. Net profit margin indicates profitability. Asset turnover ratio evaluates the efficiency. And while equity multiplier is a proxy for financial leverage. Thus, the DuPont analysis highlights that a firm may increase its ROE by maintaining a high net profit margin, efficient use of total assets, and the optimum leverage. So these are the analyses done to evaluate the present financial health of any concern for the management, investors, and other agencies also. If the return on equity falls, the firm must investigate these three final performance measures to identify the reason for such fall. The reason for such fall, once you investigate, that leads to the human management. That will be covered in the next topic today itself. So this was all about your financial aspects. If you have doubt, we will cover it after going through the investigation topic which you have just covered. See, if you take the interest, this is not only for the purpose of your examination purpose. However, I have covered the complete syllabus, keeping in view your assignments and last 3 to 4 years question papers and your study material provided to you, and our some input data which I usually use at other places. So there you find out the last line in the previous block or chapter, that once these ratios are not in positive trends, the management must investigate the things. Now that investigation leads to the importance of human resource accounting. During अब देखिए कि in past human resources accountings were considered as a capital expenditure. Now they have been changed in the revenue expenditure. Array छोड़िए, it is not required. Why HR department, they are lost. Only our labors and production units and material units. Everywhere some departments feel that I am not on the first line, I am second line. These all are the feelings within the department, and that feelings, that thoughts stops somewhere to work with full integrity. So let us see the reason behind this. During the past few decades, the composition of the gross national products of the major global economy has been changing from manufacturing to services. There are three sectors: primary, secondary, and tertiary. Primary sectors: agriculture; secondary, business, that is the manufacturing and trading; and tertiary is the services. If you go before 1991, before the new economic policy, you will find that the agriculture was holding more than 50% on the market. Your business concern was 30, and 10 to 12% was services. Now it is reversed. Services has captured the more than 40 to 45%. That is the data of 17-18. And agriculture is lagging far behind, but still maintaining the second position. So this change in the trend has changed the concepts of hiring the human resources. In recent years, this trend is also visible in India, where services contribute to a significant portion of GDP. In other words, there is an increasing demand for accountability regarding the value creation by the human resource functions. Say in services sector, you will see there is a saturation points. Now you see every sector after certain saturation, either he has to shift or he has to go back to zero. This problem partly arises from the fact that HR investments are related as a revenue expenditure rather than as capital expenditure. In the absence of any direct correlation between HR interventions and the bottom line, and lack of measurement of benefits of HR intervention, it becomes difficult for the managers to decide for which program to invest, how much to invest, and whether a particular program adds value or not. It is an important problem for them before the managers, that where I should increase the manpower and where I should reduce. And if at all to reduce, then what should be the criteria, scientific criteria? And if at all there is some requirement of addition of manpower, then what principle should be followed? There is no any clear correlation. The ambiguous nature of HR interventions impacts on the bottom line makes the task of managers difficult to decide how much commitment to make in terms of resources. अब यह जो प्रॉब्लम है इसको सॉल्व करने के लिए देयर आर सम पैरामीटर्स व्हिच नीड्स टू बी आइडेंटिफाइड and based on that you can reach to certain conclusion. The triple bottom line. What are the triple bottom line? Every company, concern are interested with their profit. They want that I should earn the profit and with that I must survive. But they forget the negative impact on the environment, health of society, and social well-being of the employees and their surroundings. The triple bottom line, traditionally the success of commercial enterprises is measured by the profit they make, ignoring the fact that the current business operations may have a negative impact on the environment, health of society, and social well-being, future financial success, and resilience of the enterprise. Triple bottom line, their theory attempts to include the impact of business operations on the environment, health, and social wellness being in the business success matrix. यह कोई बिजनेस करता है तो इन तीनों को एकदम बॉटम में लेके आता है. अब अगर आप ही सेटिस्फाइड नहीं है, इफ यू आर नॉट हेल्दी, इफ योर माइंड इज नॉट हेल्दी, इफ यू आर कमिंग विद टेंशन इन द ऑफिस दैट माय सैलरी इज लेस दिस, हाउ यू कैन गिव योर बेस्ट place to work or employers of choice. Everybody, if you have qualification, if you have quality, intellectuality, if you have good IQ, and you are adjustable to anywhere, then first everybody wants to give the preference where he can have good health, well-being, and a monetary support. These kinds of HR intervention can lower the attrition rate. If this is the concepts of even your employer, then drop down, higher retention will increase. Means आपको जो बाहर जाने का रास्ता है, जो बाहर छोड़ने का है, resign, that will reduce. Lower the attrition rate means higher the retention and reduce the recruiting costs. Once there is no resignation, every employee is satisfied, then why they will resign? There is no interest to resign once you are getting a good salary or respect, but may not add enough value to overcome the cost of running these programs. In order to gauge the effectiveness of these kinds of programs, a measurement process is required which can compute the payoffs, any returns of these investments, particularly when the cost of program is significant. Now the employer also should come with a positive intention that once I have a good returns, then it should be distributed in proportion to our employee, to the society. For the society, why government was bound to bring the CSR? Why not this company have brought on their own? So there is a need of some measurement. What you measure? That human capital management focus. Shift of economic activities from agriculture and manufacturing to the services sector have put the focus on human capital management. Now it is the time that human management, human resource to be treated as a capital asset, not the revenue expenses. But still there is a demand of accountability and HR technology to be adopted. Approaches to human resources accountability, that how human resources accountability is to be enhanced. चलिए ठीक है, okay, now I am interested to put good people with high salary, high support, then how to evaluate this? In order to evaluate the contribution of human resource functions in enterprises, performance human resources function must be measured and evaluated. Techniques, approaches of measurement and evaluation. These are some techniques which you will go through in your other syllabus also, in your day-to-day your life with your peer groups, families, and other concerns. HR management by objectives. Management by objectives. States of objectives. Make the strategy for objective. This is the goal. You have to achieve these things. Now, what help you need? What else you need? As per this technique, the HR department develops scientific objectives. These objectives are developed based on the expectation of management regarding targets of various functional parameters. Various functional parameters means maybe ratio, maybe your balance sheet, maybe audit report, ultimately the profit. Employee attitude survey. This technique is used to evaluate the effectiveness of the HR department. It is used to understand the link between employee attitude and organizational performance. I have carried out one survey in a government organization in 2016 that what is the anxiety with your job. So there were several questions asked to more than 400 people across the MP, UP, Chhattisgarh and Gujarat. So their reply was that yes, everybody was having some complaint, some grievance with the organization, but nobody was ready to leave the organization. Means it was hardly 0.1% or 0.6%. The reason behind was it is a government sector and security. If you see for security, you are not taking risk, then move at the path. If you are taking risk, have the capability, you are full confidence, then you should have that much aptitude to go anywhere where you can prove yourself. This organization has to check, do the survey. Important factors to judge effectiveness of the HR function. Open communication channels. There should not be boring. Any employee, any head of department following the through channel, they are open to listen their grievances. There should be the grievances redressal system, effective grievances redressal system, transparent and high performance standards, remuneration and rewards based on performance, effective use of employee skills and abilities, employee participation on work decisions, advancement opportunity identification and development of high potential managers. Importance factors to judge continue. That HR case study. Just to go through the case study that in last year, how many people have left the organization and what they have given their reasons, and accordingly change your policy if required. Competitive benchmark. You conduct an internal examination, in the internal competition for promotion, for incremental enhancement. Benchmark is one of the strategies used in the quality movements. If you see the MNCs or others, they go through 2 to 3 rounds of interview. And after assessing all the aspects of the candidates, they say, yes, I want your services. Otherwise, they cut their sorry fingers. Key indicators, key result area of the organization which every employer wants. The basic principle governing the construction of HR effectiveness index is to combine various variables receiving different weightage accounting according to their significance. See, everyone is not equal in any organization. Everything is important in any organization. Now see your thought, how you are able to do for the organizations and same time to yourself also. HR department is seen as an expense center. This is the negative aspects of any organization, that HR department is seen as an expense center in which costs are accumulated. However, there has been a gradual shift where HR expenses are seen as investment that can contribute to the profits. ये है कि जो इसको पहले पकड़ लिया, इसको इन्वेस्टमेंट माना, they have gone up. ह्यूमन रिसोर्सेस अकाउंटिंग एज मैनेजमेंट डिसीजन टूल्स. इन्वेस्टमेंट डिसीजन में इनका लीजिए, पार्टिसिपेशन लीजिए, ह्यूमन रिसोर्स प्लानिंग में इनको लीजिए, परफॉर्मेंस मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम में इनको इंक्लूड कीजिए, कंपनसेशन मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम में इंक्लूड कीजिए, एंड ह्यूमन रिसोर्स अकाउंटिंग मेजरमेंट मॉडल्स में लीजिए. इनको आप ह्यूमन रिसोर्स को एक पॉजिटिव सेंस में ले करके मैनेजमेंट को चाहिए कि इसको हर एक मोटिवेशनल एस्पेक्ट्स के थ्रू लेना चाहिए. इससे आपका मोरल अप होगा, योर मोरल विल गो अप, योर कॉन्फिडेंस विल राइज, You will have close attraction with your organizations and integrity towards the agencies. Now, if you don't have these points, what I just briefed in the previous slide, then you are liable for this forecast forensic accounting. In order to get a general understanding of fraud, let us have a look at the finding of the one report. एक रिपोर्ट निकला था, रिपोर्ट ऑफ द नेशंस 2020 पब्लिश्ड बाय द एसोसिएशन ऑफ सर्टिफाइड फ्रॉड एग्जामिनेशन. इन दिस स्टडी they examined total number of cases they have examined 2504, number of countries they have covered 125, and they have estimated the loss due to these frauds $3.6 billion. Small business are more prone to fraud risk than large organizations, and large organizations have well-defined structure coupled. जैसे आप करेंसी जहाँ बनता है, देवास हो, होशंगाबाद, जहाँ भी आप देखा है वहाँ पर फुल प्रूफ स्क्रूटनी एंड बॉडी चेक होता है. ऐसे बहुत सारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में होता है कि देयर शुड बी रियली पॉसिबल फॉर एनी फ्रॉड. The risk factors leading to fraud by the companies. Risk factors leading to fraud by companies. Situations threatening the financial stability or profitability of the company. Manipulation, जो मैंने आपको बताया कि जब आप शेयर के लिए जाएंगे, इन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए जाएंगे, तो you are left with a balance sheet report of the concern, and then you will calculate your ratio and your satisfaction. Pressure on management to meet the expectation of other stakeholders. Here I will narrate a small story that there was a police station. He was assigned to catch the thieves at large level. So a poor man, after doing full day labor work, was going from the place of work to his home with 5 kg of wheat. The police caught it, told, "What is this?" He told, "Sir, that this is my labor values." No. Who will give you task you this? You have stolen from somewhere. And he arrested and he reported to the SP. The SP told that reporting 5 kg is not sufficient. Let us make it 50 kg. And then it goes to the higher authority, higher echelon. By reaching to the Director General, it became 5 ton. In meantime, there was a shortage of wheat due to the flood in some coastal area. The government ordered that whatever you have just captured this 5 ton of wheat, it should be transferred to there to meet their requirement. Now you can see what would have been happened. So these are the pressure to meet the expectation of the other stakeholders. Threat to the personal wealth of top management and promoters as a result of the performance. Pressure on divisional managers by senior managers or board of directors. Inability to fulfill conditions in merger or acquisition agreements. And incentive or pressure rationalization or attitude opportunity. These are the factors which makes company to go for the fraud. Companies, not the employee. Fraud triangle. Now, after going the company, now you see that how individual also go for this fraud. This concept identifies the 3 categories of risk that are present in the organization. These factors can potentially lead to the fraud. Incentive and pressure, that is the need. Opportunity, कहते हैं ना कि he is the opportunist, जिसको मौका मिलेगा ले लेगा. Who are the honest today? Those who are not getting opportunity to be dishonest. These are the things. Rationalization and attitude. Now let us see what is the incentive and pressure. Management and employees are often put under pressure or offered incentives to achieve certain milestones, which can be financial, operational, related sale. Now, once I tell you that if you achieve this, I will give you this much incentive, 5%, then you will steal or borrow by hook or crook, by manipulating the things. Yes, sir, I did it. Management is happy, and you are happy that you have got your incentives. These targets can be realistic and unrealistic. Once it is realistic, there is no issue of case of fraud. Once it is unrealistic, the above three factors will make you to create the fraud. The problem arises when unrealistic targets are tied to the remuneration and advancement of opportunity. In order to achieve these unrealistic targets, the individuals, divisions, and company may have incentive to manipulate results or put pressure on others to do. यह रीजन होता है कि कोई क्यों फ्रॉड करता है, आइदर कंपनी और इंडिविजुअल. अब आके देखते हैं कि कौन कौन से केसेस हमारे सामने हैं जहां फ्रॉड्स हुए. सत्यम कंप्यूटर, सभी लोग जानते हैं कि व्हाट हैपेंड इन दिस. दिस वाज वन ऑफ द लीडिंग इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी कंपनीज ऑफ इंडिया. The promoters of the company devised ingenious ways to defraud the company and siphon off, transfer a large amount of money to the tune of $1 billion, where the modus operandi was to issue dummy bills for services not actually rendered to foreign clients. सोचिए कि इन्होंने क्या काम किया कि डम्मी बिल बना करके फॉरेन क्लाइंट्स को दिया, which was not actually made the services against the services. And what happened at last, the take proceeds were shown in bank accounts open in various countries, and many of these bank accounts were either non-existent or the balances shown in them were highly inflated. In a nutshell, this fraud is comprised of two parts. One is showing inflated revenue and the second is showing inflated cash balance with the banks. अब देखिए इनका मोडस ये था कि इन्होंने जो सर्विसेस नहीं लिए उसके भी इन्होंने लार्ज पेमेंट कर दिया बेस्ड ऑन द बोगस बिल्स, और सत्यम कंप्यूटर खत्म. किंगफिशर एयरलाइंस, one of the finest airlines in private sector in India, second highest market share after jet. The fall of the airlines started with the company borrowing huge fund from the bank. अब कोई भी बैंक आपको फंड देगा, बारोइंग देगा, तो उसके अगेंस्ट में वह अपने पास जो सिक्योरिटी रखेगा, व्हाट विल बी दैट? दैट विल बी योर बैलेंस शीट, दैट विल बी योर फिक्स्ड असेट्स. नाउ यू हैव क्रिएटेड dummy fixed assets in your balance sheet, and that bank is satisfied, and now he has given large borrowing. The collateral for this borrowing was Kingfisher brand. Now see the surprise. This is the only case possible. This is the that where the collateral was the intangible assets. Otherwise, if you go before bank or anyone else, they take the tangible assets only, land, building, whatever may be, FD and all. Nobody give you the borrowing based on the intangible assets. Now that fellow has made the borrowing based on the intangible assets. The intangible asset was the brand. Which brand? Kingfisher brand. अपने आप में नाम ही काफी है. When the promoters failed to pay back the principal amount and interest thereon, the brand value of Kingfisher took a nosedive, एकदम जमीन के अंदर, and was virtually not of any value. The banks were saddled with NPA of more than rupees 9,000 crores. अब आप देखिए किंगफिशर का क्या हाल हो गया. जेट एयरवेज, आपने अभी देखा जेट एयरवेज का लार्जेस्ट मार्केट शेयर अमंग द इंडियन एयरलाइन ऑपरेटर्स. हाउएवर इट्स फाइनेंशियल प्रैक्टिसेस वर क्वेश्चनेबल, व्हिच इंक्लूडेड, क्या हुआ इसमें? ओवर स्टेटिंग कमीशन पेड. देखिए कमीशन पेड कहाँ आएगा? आपके P&L में आएगा, कहाँ आएगा? बैलेंस शीट में आएगा, कहाँ आएगा? कैरी फॉरवर्ड, बैड डेट आते जाएगा. इन्होंने क्या किया कि ओवर स्टेटिंग कमीशन पेड बेस्ड इन दुबई एजेंसी कंसर्न इंडिविजुअल पर्सन, जो भी एजेंसी था दे वर बेस्ड इन दुबई, और वहां से जो सर्विसेज था उसमें उन्होंने ओवर स्टेटिंग कर दिया कमीशन पेमेंट को लेके. ओवर स्टेटमेंट ऑफ एक्सपेंस एंड अंडर रिपोर्टिंग ऑफ प्रॉफिट. प्रॉफिट पूरा कम हो गया, डिक्लेयर हो गया. डाइवर्जन ऑफ फंड बाय गिविंग लोन्स ऑफ अराउंड 3,553 crores कर दिए. ये सब किसके आधार पर किया? फेक इनवॉइस. First and primary documents of any books of account was told that the bill, invoice, estimates known as the vouchers. Everything start from the basic first bricks of the plinth. From there, you have to go there, do the manipulation there. These are created these things. Bhushan Steel was a profitable company with a modern large-scale plants, but the promoters indulged in multiple fraudulent practices, which were transfer of borrowed fund to various related parties. ये आज भी चल रहा है, हर कंसर्न में चल रहा है. This is the very basic phenomena. I will take the borrowing from government based on some other company, and I will transfer as an unsecured loan to my near and dear, and by giving unsecured loan interest free, or sometimes some few interest, and the day will come, I will tell before bank that now I am in insolvency, I cannot pay you back, and what is left with company? Only some few buildings and nothing else. The fraud amounted to rupees 50,000 crores, and investigation agencies have been able to establish that an amount of rupees 2,348 crores was diverted to more than 200 shell companies. Shell companies are those companies which generally never exist. They exist only on papers. But surprisingly, if you issue any notice or letter on the address which is not existing at all, you will get well worse reply. I myself being an investigating agency, I go daily on these subjects, and I find that there is no non-compliance of any notices and all. These are the shell companies. Now, based on these practices, how the frauds are created, what are the types, that is the classification of frauds, categories of frauds. The origin of the fraud can be either internal or external. The fraud the fraud three are understated asset tree. The fraud tree are understated assets. Understated assets. जो ये fraud का पेड़ या tree farm होता है कि from bottom you find out one voucher, one bill, etc. And after growing, it forms the form of tree. So what are the middle ends, middle agency which form the tree? Understated assets means assets को कम करके दिखाना. Misappropriation, cash inventory and all other assets. ऐसा फॉर्म करके assets को कम दिखाना, मेरे पास asset नहीं है, liability ज्यादा हो गया. Large skimming of cash on hand from the deposit, other sales, receivable, refund and other. These are the modus of making fraud in any organization. Employee भी कर सकते हैं, मैनेजमेंट भी कर सकता है, इंटेंशनल भी हो सकता है, नॉन इंटेंशनल भी हो सकता है. Transfer of false sales and shipping, purchasing and receiving fraudulent disbursement, expense reimbursement schemes, shell companies, ghost employees. Employee है नहीं, employee के नाम पर सैलरी मिल रहा है, employee काम कर रहा है. You see the many of the sectors, organized sector on contract basis, they are getting good salary from the government, but they are sitting somewhere else, doing service somewhere else, and they have deployed some outsourced person on the very less amount. So ghost employees, they are not working but drawing the salary. Mischaracterized expenses, commissions, schemes, overstated. These are the bogus wages, means the manipulation of bills and vouchers. These all gives way to the frauds. उसको कंट्रोल करने के लिए क्या किया जाता है, फ्रॉड को कैसे हम इसकी फॉर्सिंग अकाउंटिंग कैसे करेंगे, इसको पकड़ेंगे कैसे, हाउ वी विल इन्वेस्टिगेट दिस. Fraud detection and prevention is one of the principal areas in which we find the applications of forensic accounting, but the scope of forensic accounting has increased in recent years nobody can stop. And some of the specific practices area of application for forensic accounting are bankruptcy, insolvency, and reorganization, computer forensic analysis, and economic damage calculations. ये करके इन माध्यम से करके पूरा forensic अपना manipulation they can do it. And once they can do, you being yourself as a management or investigation, see why you cannot. Fraud origin and accounting cycles. These cycles are sales, correction receipt cycles, purchase, personal and payroll, inventory and warehouses, and monthly. After doing manipulation in these 5 heads, you can create the frauds. Fraudulent financial reporting schemes, over-reporting and under-reporting of revenue are the 2 methods. So most of such company prepares the multiple sets of the balance sheets, one for tax purposes, showing very less assets or less profit or no profit or loss, and one for the concerned company where it is registered at the par, and one to the banks showing very large profit and assets to borrow large amount of loans. Improper revenue recognitions, ये सब भी है आपका बिल एंड होल्ड, एग्रीमेंट टू सेल थ्रू प्रोडक्ट, इंटरनल एम्प्लॉय ने आपस में दो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की एम्प्लॉय ने आपस में दे हैव असेस्ड एंड दे हैव टॉल्ड दैट ओके आई विल डू दिस, साइन एग्रीमेंट उसने कर लिया कि आई विल डू दिस, जो आएगा वहां से उसको हम उसको डिफॉल्टी दिखा देंगे और आप चले जाएंगे, आप इसको लेके चले जाओ, इसका प्रॉफिट हम लोग 50-50 कर लेंगे. अदर फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग स्कीम्स. Tools. What are the tools to detect the fraud? There are 2 main methods used to detect the fraud. That is non-technology based and hotline based. Non-technology based चैन जो जिसको हम हवाला कहते हैं, अब हवाला तो दोनों ही लाइन से होने लगा. हॉटलाइन पर कोड दे दिया जाएगा, टिप दे दिया जाएगा, नोट कहते हैं कि नोट फाड़ के वहाँ दे दिए, वहाँ दे दिए, कोडिंग हो जाता है उनका, मैसेजेस होता है, that we cannot catch it off. So these are the tool. Technology based, computerized traditional methods, financial statement analysis, discovery, sampling, strategic methods is यही technology based जो है information that internally we can do. Once there is a loss, there is a no profit as per expected our parameters, our expenditure, then internal organization management they go for technological based investigation. And sometimes if believe that some particular employee is playing foul game with the organization, they can adopt non-technology based also. So these are the tips which are used to detect the fraud in any organization. Techniques of forensic audits. While doing that, they will check all these things, and if there is a real problem, they will detect the things. Testing internal controls, trend analysis, digital forensic examination, face-to-face interview, full financial audit. These are the heads which will be checked in the audit. With this, I can conclude that how the financial reports are prepared, what are the base of financial reports, and what are the measures to check their correctness, and what are the measures to check if there is any fraud in such statements. Now it is your turn to ask any question, any doubt, till you feel free. If you think that from your study material anything left uncovered, please let me know. Or I don't think that I have left anything. Yes, please. Amita Patel, please go ahead.
Sir, where can we find the question papers for previous year's exam? Because
Yes,
it is not available on.
it is available on the IGNOU websites, old question paper.
No, sir, I was not able to find for MBA exam. There was no previous year's question paper available.
But I got it from the same websites and I have in hand these question papers. It is readily available with me. So, okay, I will give you the path under that mail ID exactly,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yes.
it is there. It is there. It is there.
Sir, it is apgp1005@gmail.com.
Wait 1 minute. Please tell one. Repeat again.
apgp
AP GP GP
1005
1005
@gmail.com.
gmail.com. Means GP is twice.
AP, it's for Amita Patel.
Yeah, yeah,
GP, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
it is for Ganesh Patel.
yeah.
1005
Okay.
@gmail.com.
I will make it by today evening.
Yeah, yeah, sir.
Any other query, please? कोई क्वेरी और बताइए। ये एमबीए के क्लासेस हैं, ये हमारे काउंसलिंग सेशंस हैं, इसमें आप अपना प्रॉब्लम रख सकते हैं, क्योंकि अगर आपने एमबीए में एडमिशन लिया है तो यू मस्ट हैव थॉट समथिंग फॉर अबाउट योर फ्यूचर्स। इफ एनी एडिशनल इंफॉर्मेशन यू नीड, then you are free to ask any additional informations. I can share it to you. Any question from your side, please?
Hello. Sir, I do have a question.
Please.
Sir, can we get the study material on video format?
Study material in video format, there is a one column right side on the IGNOU websites. There are some video materials are available. Whether complete it is complete or not, whether useful for you or not, but it is available. So I will raise this issue with the RC Bhopal, that what are the study material available in audio or video on the website.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Most welcome.
Sir, another question was there are 5 units, okay?
Yes, yes, yes.
And how much weightage should be given to each unit? Like there will be a paper of 100 marks, and
At par, equally.
yeah.
I have
So
seen the 3 4 year
each unit will
papers.
be covering for 20 marks, or there will be
Yes.
different weightage.
No, 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 no. I have observed the pattern of paper for these 3 to 4 years. If some
Yeah.
question papers are falling short of some few marks, then that one question is added in the short notes. So almost it is equally weighted to all the blocks, all the units.
Sir, in general, how many questions are asked in the exams?
In general, there are 6 questions, 7 questions, and just 1 sec, I will give you the complete breakdown of the year-wise questions. See, if I go through the question paper of June 21, there are 8 questions. 8th question is having a 6 short notes. If you go for February 21, this is 8 questions, again 8 questions. If you go for June 20, it is again 8 questions. You can say that there are 8 questions available in the question paper, and you are asked to attend the 5 questions.
And the type of questions, are they subjective and objective both, or just subjective?
No, there is no objective question as such, only subjectives. In some question paper, there is a numerical, like that the first paper, there is a numerical questions, at least one big numerical question, one half numerical questions, and short notes. And if you see the questions papers of the 3 years, I have covered each questions individually in my counseling. Some questions have 3 4 small parts. Some questions are single questions. These question paper, I will send you that mail you have given, and you can circulate among your friends.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes,
In
please.
assessment number MCP 004, there was a numerical questions on accounting. Can
Yes,
you
yes,
please
yes.
explain the question?
Assignment.
Yes, sir.
The assignments, there are the two numerical questions.
Yeah,
Once,
yeah, yeah.
I think you have submitted your assignments. If you are having doubt with the solution, I have solution. I have made my own solutions. I was trying to put in your counseling on this platform, but due to the paucity of time, I could not put it here. So, working capital, the first question is your working capital. And working capital, I told you that it is nothing but the difference of current asset to the current liability. Now, if you can identify in the given question paper, what are the current assets and what are the current liability, that your assignment is in my hand. If you see as on 1st January 2021 and 31st December 2022, 21, sorry, the assets are given cash and bank balance. What is this? This is the current assets. Am I right? Now you have
Yes,
to
sir.
say yes or no. See, it is not necessary that you say whatever you think, you tell me. If there is possibility, I will correct it. So, but
Okay, sir.
naturally, it is a current asset. Other than this, at least this has to be current asset. And second comes sundry debtors. Sundry debtors are for that particular year. So once you are going with the inventory, you can include sundry debtors in your current assets. And short-term investment, it is also current assets because it is only for the particular year being short-term. Prepaid expenses. Once question paper, see, once you are writing in chat for question paper, then it will be difficult for me, because after concluding this session, I will send. If you give me, you dictate your mail ID, I will manually enter in the system, and in chat box I will see. I will ask RC, because chat box only RC can give me. So let me see this. Discuss some these questions, and then I will come to your query. Now stock in trade. That is stock in trade for the current year. So whether you treat it the working capital, certainly yes, it is working capital. Freehold land and shed, no, it is the fixed assets is cannot form the working capital. It cannot, because it is not a working assets, current assets. Plant and machinery, they are not current assets, they are fixed assets. Now you categorize the current assets as on 1st January and as on 31st December, and the difference of that is for that year, that is your current assets for that year, for that day. At the end of the year, that is your formation of asset. And likewise, take the liability, current liability. Once you have taken the debtors, you take the creditors. If you don't take debtor, you write a note that treating that these debtors are old debtors as data is not provided. So I have not considered as a current asset. Likewise, creditors not as a current liability, but it is not a good practice. You may lose 1 or 2 points over it. Then outstanding expenses. Once you have taken current asset as a prepaid expenses, then you have to take this outstanding expenses. 5% debenture, whether it is short term or long term, it is 5%. So you certainly it is a short term liability. You have to take as a current liability. Depreciation fund. Depreciation fund is a short term liability because it will end with the end of the financial year. And reserve and contingency. Contingency reserve is not dictated, whether it is a capital reserve or revenue reserve. So it is not a short-term liability. And profit and loss account, that is the current the profit that is balance. And share capital is naturally not a current assets. So the differences of this will form your working capital. Any other query, please? If you have query, please raise your hand. Somebody has written some mail ID in the chat box. So let me see if I can see it. Kindly share question paper to, okay, it is available in chat box. Now I will write this mail ID, Ashwini VS. Ashwini VS 02114 @gmail.com. गोकुल अब हम इसका आपके चैट बॉक्स का जो है दे लेते हैं स्क्रीनशॉट.
Hello, sir. I do have a question.
Yes, please.
Sir, can you refer any book for examination purposes, or our study material is enough?
See, if you are really serious about the books, after going from the records, I can say there is one books of R.L. Gupta. Please don't take it that I am recommending something. R.L. Gupta, and one cost accountancy books, which is for the company secretaries. If you take these two books, and if you are having commerce background,
Yes, sir.
then it is sufficient. If you are not a commerce background, then take the 11th and 12th NCERT books of business accounting and accountancy.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Most welcome. Any more query? Those who are writing to share the question paper in chat box, I am writing their IDs. If it does not reaches to you within short span of time, by tomorrow, latest by tomorrow, then please let me know through the email ID. I will send you. My email ID is SinghRavindra08 SinghRavindra08 @gmail.com. You have to write that you are MBA students, otherwise there are so many mail which I cannot see. I want to confirm if anybody is available in the RC Bhopal. If a Shruti ma'am is available there. Okay, friends, if you have any doubt, you please kindly send your mail on my mail ID, irrespective of this MS4. It may be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever, and anything related with your career. Yes, ma'am. Now my session is almost over, but I don't have option to stop the recording. So can you stop?
Okay. Yes, I can.
Yes, ma'am. Please stop from there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So friends, I think that I was able to convince you somewhere, and you must be benefited with this. Anytime related with your counseling, related with your